Welcome to the program, Madam Abigail Mupambi. I understand that you represent Civic Society and Church Student Forum. What's your comment on the remarks by Bishop Mpanda Sekwa in regarding to the Zimbabwean doctors and the government of Zimbabwe, as well as the legislation that was proposed by the government of Zimbabwe, that doctors are not supposed to go on strike, but rather engage in order to save lives?
Thank you so very much. First of all, I would acknowledge having seen the remarks from the Bishop Mpanda Sekwa, the Catholic bishop. I would say it's regrettable that, in my view, the bishop is too bitter to go on the pulpit. I would say so. And I take into consideration the issue around the health bill, the plight of our lovely doctors, our well-caring health workers, and of course I don't forget that we have got the vulnerable patients. We have the public who still needs to have the public confidence in the health systems. And I will also remind you that not very long that we lost a lot of people, and many people actually missed the opportunity even to be treated during the time when we had the so-called rights of doctors on the fake abduction staged by Magombe, the doctor. And what then probably we quickly forget is that it's not only the doctors in question. We have got our mothers, we have got kids, we have got the whole populace that also needs to be protected. We also need to have a clarity in the understanding that we have a patient's charter where we must have the two coming together to say, you are the patient and the service provider. The E is, of course, government. The legislation, in my view, I would have expected the church to be the first to appreciate the legislation. Why? Because the issue of saving lives should be good news for the church. The issue of allowing people to come together and deal with their issues using engagement should be the good news for the church. The issue of fronting life ahead of any other thing should be good news for the church. This is why I said it's
but still on that, isn't it their right, doctors, to demonstrate?
Okay, I don't refuse that they have a right to demonstrate, but I am saying their right is not only running as a stand-alone right. We have the supreme right to life, that if we lose a life, we cannot by any means manage to retain such. But you can have your grievances solved, you can have your back pains attended to, you can have other things attended to, and you can still be actually reinstated. But we cannot pick a lost life. For that reason, the bill is actually bringing together a platform where we all collectively respect the supreme right. So to that end, I would have expected in particular the church to say this is good news. How do we put mechanisms of facilitating this process? How do we make sure that this process is harmonized so that our doctors are not exposed, our patients are not exposed? But also to describe for a whole bishop, for a whole package of a Catholic bishop to actually demonstrate that he is offended by a bill that seeks to protect the patient, the vulnerable. We say we are a voice. The church equally is a voice for the voiceless. Let's let's compare, just being practical, a patient on bed and an aggrieved doctor and an aggrieved nurse. Who is more vulnerable? Does this warrant such level of anger for a man of the cloth to really parade himself and say, I am offended because the bill seek to protect the patients? I really think that it's evil in a way, and this is why in my first remarks I said the man of the cloth is too bitter to be on the pulpit, particularly on this issue, because his line of argument, thinking, and the line of standing position in a situation where he is inciting even the unconscious doctors to think that there's everything wrong in fronting the patients ahead. He even goes on to describe the bill as militant. Now we no longer have doctors because they are now look. I think it's uncalled for. And for record, I think the Catholics should be probably taking us into an update on what is really happening in Rome pertaining the Bible itself. There's a lot of speculation. Maybe the Catholics should put us into picture. And speaking about issues of the Pope and the homosexuality issues, which is a burning issue right now. You saw what has been happening at Nama. The Catholics must be at least giving us timely updates. What is the real deal in Rome? What is happening within the spaces where they lead and control? And I don't think dwelling in inciting people in this direction, and in particular attacking even the safety nets for the people, I don't think it's called for.